Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and everything and amazing Propagandacast. With me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero psych defender of the fatherland, off here to a glorious 1v1 on Crossroads. In the north, it is Fire&Terror fighting for the German army, Deutschland. Here with the 7th Panzer Division with Luftwaffe Supply, Lightning War, and Mechanized. In the south, there's Prabuty fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, the 5th Guards Tank Corps. Here with airborne troop tactics with airdrop weapons, paired-drop heavy machine guns, airborne rally points, guards, airborne troops, and the rocket run. Double grenadiers for Fire&Terror versus double grenadiers conscripts for Prabuty. And as always, a big thanks to my patron supporters, an indispensable part here of keeping the Propagandacast running. So big thanks to all those. Other people can join the ranks by pledge on Patreon, or they can donate via PayPal. Links are in the video description. And if you wish to support the Propagandacast in other ways, you can also consider, if you are pre-ordering, then of course, if you're not, that's totally fine, by the way. I understand why you won't. But if you are going to pre-order, you can use the link in the video description, on the comments. Use the code Coh2 alongside it, because without the code, it doesn't quite work. So in which case, pre-order with that. In which case, I get a cut of the sale there. So that way, you can get companies 3 and support me. That's pretty great. And finally, just comment, like, share, subscribe. So, double conscripts here, double grenadiers versus double grenadiers. Both sides going out each their own way here, spreading out pretty aggressively here. Mr. Prabuty utilizing the faster capturing power that he gets by basically rushing out 1 grenadiers. Meanwhile, a bit more steady side here for Fire&Terror, heading westwards hard, ignoring the east for now. Typically, one of these, shall say, weaknesses there of the Wehrmacht opening, because you have to build the infantry, meaning your basic infantry is always behind pretty much every other factions in the game. North, their ponies advancing, grenadiers and engineers here, routing them. In the east here, we got conscripts basically, mines as well here by Prabuty. Very quick, they're efficient work, they're ensuring that if the Germans are rushing in hard here, they're going to get a bit of an explosive surprise. West first, they're going to bring about here, 3rd conscript there for Prabuty. Western fuel pump there being ceased, so far otherwise very quiet here, with only minor engagements, except of course for here, where Dmitry and Yevgeny drop dead. 3rd conscript they're ready. 3rd grenadier squad for Fire&Terror. Imagine we're looking at a 4th one. Yup, pretty much standard to these particular type of builds. Grenadiers and units in the east here. Most of the guns versus Coh2 TKs. Conscripts flying up behind the grenadiers here. More grenadiers bring to assist here. Hit pretty hard here on the right flank. Fire&Terror will definitely deploy more troops. He's going to risk some rather pointless losses here. But Prabuty's starting to deploy more and more troops here. There we go. Engineers grab it. Still the conscript squad here. The grenadier squad here is already in a pretty bad spot. We'll have to retreat it here. It's a bit scattered all over the place, which definitely helps out Prabuty gain a local advantages. That said, here it's not going too well. And up here, the grenadiers are also now able to overcome their Prabuty's forces. So, looks like Prabuty might have missed a small window here, but I don't think anything major can come out of that so far. Still, conscript here need to retreat now. There's 2 grenadier squads focusing down here. That is just an unwinnable engagement here for Prabuty. At most, he can buy time, and even then, the amount of time he can buy from this is incredibly limited. Still making use of that, I suppose, to try and push westwards here, hit the cemetery where Fire&Terror isn't quite as focused right now and ready. Bunker up there for Fire&Terror, no commander yet for him. That said, with a heavy grenadier build, he could consider Lightning War for the G43s. That could be an option to that related with shit. He could also go for Luftwaffe Supply Doctrine, having, the medical supplies and the Luftwaffe Field Officer to show, say, maintain such a large grenadier force on a more aggressive footing. He could also surprise us with Mechanized, which is just a common choice. Maybe you can go for some 250 half-tracks for some slightly more aggressive infantry tactics that way. We'll have to see what he ends up with. Molotov here, the wins the engagement. Of course, I'm fairly certain the Soviets did not call them Molotov cocktails, because that's what the Finnish called them when they locked them, the Soviets, in the Winter War. Funnily enough. Even more fun fact is the Germans also make use of Molotovs. While they did have the incendiary grenade, it was just easy to make Molotovs. In fact, they made them, on an industrial level, basically, converting liquor factories into making Molotovs. So, fun fact there. They call them Brandflaschen, by the way, or fire bottles. Western point exist here. Flare mines going down there for Prabuty. Flamethrowers up there for Prabuty's engineers. From Western point with the conscripts, moving up the center here. Back at Prabuty's base. Medics also ready here. Can start by airdropping weapons. We do get the heavy machine gun there being airdropped for Prabuty's men's convenience. Continues charging the Grenadiers in the side. Flamethrower definitely giving the Grenadiers a significant advantage versus the Grenadiers, in particular if they keep bunching up like that. Like to make a nice company with a very likely tutor here for Fire&Terror. Still no commander though. Westwards they're pushing to reclaim the fuel point. Note of course here Prabuty currently has a significant upper hand here. Both fuel points, good chunk of the map, which in particular on Crossroads means he is getting a lot of fuel compared to his opponent. Continuing out the center, westwards there, Mac dish coming forwards. Flare mine goes off there, killing Friedrich. Dish goes the Grenadiers there. Catches the one out in the open, thumbs up. Certainly much smarter than fighting the ones in heavy cover. Got the first light machine up here for Fire&Terror Grenadiers, so could still be Lightning War, but at least he's not going to go for it for the G40 fleece here. Low for supply also looking less likely now, so it's going to be either Lightning War most likely or German Mechanized. I mean, he could still prove me wrong though. That'd be fun, but not quite expecting that one here. 2-2 there for Fire&Terror though. Worth noting he does have an Austrian bulletin there for some light suppression on the Austrian's machine guns. Probably one of the more interesting bulletins in that it actually provides some additional utility unit, which pretty much none of them do. I mean, there's some that just give some very nice production build speed bonuses or just some other small accuracy stuff, but this is the only one that really just adds like an element like suppression to a unit. So I found this bulletin to be particularly interesting. Right, going into content news here. That's it, that's going to escort me to retreat here. Scout car out there for Fire&Terror. Going back the eastern point, got the dish coming forwards here. Almost fully reinforced now here for Prabuty. Worth noting he's yet to take up. We also got the SVD-40s being airdropped there. Very good for him. Let's go to Fire&Terror's infantry, and there we go. We do get mechanized with command tanks, 250-1 half tracks, vehicle critical repair, spotting scopes, and the leichte Feldhaubitz Aktien Artillerie. Also following up with the MD-42. Another weapon drop there for Prabuty. Another weapon drop. What's was there? Slow push here by Prabuty. Fire&Terror those ready to strike back here for the fatherland. Armored car firing a few shots that went above the head there, the machine gun crew. Fortunate for them. West here comes with the Grenadiers there. Slight moon in the east. Coming forward here for Prabuty. Again, I think he's just basically probing the lines here. Fire&Terror hoping to find some weaknesses. In this case, Fire&Terror has instantly enough completely abandoned the cemetery. Clearly, I think looking to make a hard push into the, lumberyard, then secure the eastern fuel point. Interesting shift there, I think, by Fire&Terror. But worth noting, he's not bringing any minesweepers, so this mine could definitely end up slowing down Fire&Terror's advance there, though. I am surprised we're not even seeing like a small, rear guard here just to slow down Prabuty even just a bit here. And so far we can see that already here the push for the eastern fuel point is already slowing down here as he's starting to divert his attention towards the center, meaning Prabuty's already going to escalate into a fast T-70. In fact, you could have up the T-70 really fast if you hadn't had this up faster, so I mean, this is already looking a bit rough there for Fire&Terror in some regards, a bit dangerous. He's finally pushing for the eastern fuel point, but yeah, definitely feel like he could do with a bit more urgency in his step when it comes to securing fuel control here, because this is definitely the sort of situation I feel like that could rapidly escalate out of control. T-70 away there for Prabuty. Pioneers to grab the eastern fuel point. That said, honestly, at this stage, I don't think Prabuty would have been entirely, wrong to try and just push for a mechanized armoured company and then rush out a T-34 from 6. But that said, T-70 is still an excellent choice here, so I don't think that's bad either. Disk here could be in trouble though. Nice flank with the Grenadiers and the rough grenade here. Armoured car moving in as well here. Could land a wipe here on Prabuty, which would be, very helpful for Fire&Terror. Getting another machine gun team, crucially a Soviet heavy machine team like this one, would be really good for Fire&Terror. But no, fortune smiles upon Prabuty there, and it gets wiped right outside the base boundary, so he can't actually grab it, in part because there's troops right there ready to do so. So, bit of rotten luck there for Fire&Terror. He was close, yet so far. So close. Still, he has managed to gain the eastern side here, but we got the T-70 moving in. Of course, Fire&Terror currently lacks any anti-tank guns, nor have we seen any telemines. He's going for panther grenadiers now. We'll push up to 500 squads and a Pack 40. Thumbs up to that. Certainly having 5 squads right now versus Prabuty with just 3, but I think if Fire&Terror a good chance to gain more map control here versus his opponent, if he can leverage it. Oh, he cancels the Panther Grenadiers. Slightly disappointed on a personal level. That's just me. Pack 40, those are almost done. Easily engaging there, Conscripts routed under rather vicious and rapid fire from the Info 2 and the armored car combined. Enforcing healing. There you go, Pack 40 ready. The Panzer Abwehr can only field 6 straight for the car point here. Very smart move there, of course. Gonna be much faster just to run to this neutral than to grab the fuel points. So by doing this, you can much more quickly just cut off his opponent from the fuel and the other points here. So thumbs up there to Prabuty. Very, I think, good prioritization there. Armored car there at the ready. Now he's pushing westwards again and once more. Not doing a lot to defend here. To an extent you can understand that because as the Wehrmacht, you know, you want to avoid being caught up into these meat grinds. In some ways it's better just to make these kind of pushes where there's less immediate direct resistance and hard points. But I can't, apart from me also feel it's slightly concerning how quickly he just concedes these and just allows, I think, Prabuty to have so much fuel here compared to him. Like, it's obviously a balancing act here. I'm not saying it's an easy one here. I'm slightly concerned there, just slightly. I think, and otherwise, again, the Fire&Terror is doing the smart thing by, you know, not hammering away there, but Prabuty is like, you know, densest and most heavily dug in, because as the Wehrmacht with your 4-man squads, that is typically where things get tougher to attack head on. So you're typically looking to like outmaneuver and just hit them with a lot of firepower from an angle where they aren't expecting it. Field gun for Prabuty. And this time he's at least faster to get to the fuel point. We got the T-Sun just coming in. I need to bring up his firepower here. Second pack 40 for Fire&Terror definitely indicates concern there about enemy armor. Probably also just realization his opponents had a good chunk of the map plus the fuel point for a significantly longer period of time. So at this point, I mean, it could also be he's already now planning for Tier 4, but at the same time, it's also just like a very simple move if you're expecting to just get rushed by T-34s when you're clearly not within the same postal code of tanks. I think this is a very simple move here by Fire&Terror concerning the overall situation, the overall developments. Now the machine being airdropped here for Prabuty. I think at this point he would just set up for the Mechanized company and begin setting towards the T-34-6 rather than going for a second machine gun team here. That's just me on the west side here to caught with the Grenadiers. The armored car pushed back in the center, T-Suming 40. We got 1 kill on it. Conscripts there being ripped apart by light machine gun fire here. We got 361 versus 479. Tech halfway done there for Fire&Terror. Also cancel the pack 40 there. Interesting, interesting. Not what I'd expect. I don't think necessarily it's a bad move, but it's certainly a bit of a surprise there. He could, of course, rush out a Stug. I suppose on us when he's getting really bold. Of course, have to see what Fire&Terror does here. MD4 to in the center. Some incendiary pieces around right about now I think could be a very good idea to help deal with infantry faster and more violently. It is a very good, but I think overlooked ability in the Wehrmacht, shall we say, toolkit. Like, the amount of damage you can do is really impressive and can actually rip apart entire Soviet infantry assaults. Of course, it does require better time in terms of, like, you know, pop at the right time, but still, it is an ability that can very quickly turn engagement heavily into your favor when timed correctly. Tech for Prabuty. This is very much in the favor of Fire&Terror. We definitely, I think, will want to get that support on the cops and just get something out of it as soon as possible. He's in the center for the Grenadier, moving out westwards here. Machine gun up at the western fuel point. He's got 2, of course, out there. That's going to help control the center, but also the western fuel. Making it easy, of course, for now Fire&Terror to hold a broader, you know, strip of land here against the Soviet attackers. No support call yet. Do get the Mechanized coming for Prabuty, and he's easily got the fuel for like T-34, Coh2 or the H-85 here. Decent addition on the west, MD4 holding up here. Disco moving straight into, clearly not expecting a same M42 here. We're not caring, it's hard to say here, but our way, the Disco is very quickly persuaded to go back home. Meanwhile, support McCormick's done there for Fire&Terror. We will have to see what it is. Panther 4, Ostwind, Stug. That's only an argument for all either of the 3 there. A bit of quiet here for once between the 2 combatants. A bit of silence. Field gun being hauled eastwards there, comes from up the centre. Grenadiers filling up here, and there you go, coming forwards here. Rifles firing away, the Grenadiers return the favour, of course, with a lot more bullets. More troops pushing forwards. Grenadiers MD42 moving in the east, we got the pioneers coming up, sweeping up mines here. Mortar for Fire&Terror, guessing it's going to be the Panther 4. Which again, considering the circumstances, makes a lot of sense. He's obviously where he's going to be on the receiving end of tanks. I mean, he could also go for the Stuke here, but he also wants to deal with infantry support weapons at the same time, which is why a lot of people go for the Panther 4, which is, you know, this intermediate sort of safe choice. So you can both handle tanks, but, you know, still make the infantry regret being on the same battlefield. There we go, Panther 4 for Fire&Terror, though I definitely think getting Osman to support now he has a bullet in the foot would be a very good idea as well. Our Immortal, though, I think it's an excellent addition. Prabuty with his first T-34-6 there on the way. Just coming forwards. Sneaking up the eastern side here with just the field gun and the T-70. Interesting move here, but also risky. Like, if Fire&Terror to like make a big push, he could actually swarm the field and clear it out and then turn it against Prabuty, which would be bad for Prabuty for a number of reasons. One of them, which was A, he lost the field gun, but also 2, his opponent would then have the field gun. That would be a rather big swing there in like force strength. And there we go. We can sort of see it exactly. In fact, the armored car rushed straight in, almost cleared out the entire field gun on its own. Very close here. And there we go. He actually wipes the field crew. And again, it's worth noting right now, Prabuty has nothing in the same vicinity here that can actually grab it back. In fact, most of infantry in the west here with the Disca backing up here. Machine gun could pop into the opposite rounds here, though again, so far seems like Fire&Terror is not a big fan of their ability for the reasons. Panther 4's arriving here. He's destroying the field gun. That also works, honestly. Definitely also works. A part of me would expect him to grab the field gun. Still no up his round. TCS preoccupied. We got a rocket strike here, though, against Fire&Terror there. Field gun destroyed. Rocket screaming down there, killing poor Friedrich. T-70 goes up in flames here. And up north, the assault continues. The machine gun is wiped out here again. Should have popped this in up his rounds. Could have cleared out the engineers. Needs to get more forces in to deal with that flank here. Still taking out a field gun and the T-70. It's a pretty good trade-off on MD42 in the end. Even if it was like Vetchi 2, and it would have been better if we just, you know, murdered the enemy units and got into Vetchi 3. Will certainly be a bit tough there for Prabuty to just easily replace those losses. Mines we can lay down here though, and again, at least take advantage of his opponent's attention here to then really do some damage to Fire&Terror's economy. So thumbs up there to Prabuty. T-Fed force from 6 moving westwards, going to clear out that MD42. They are forced to retreat at the very least. Paying them out an MD42 and the Panther 4. We also got the spotting scopes up, allowing it to see farther when it's not moving. Some players do like having that little bit of tactical advantage with that. And of course got the armored car upgrade with as well. An armored car with the spotting scope in the right place can see quite far, as you can see there. That is quite some line of sight. It's to sort of illustrate how far it can see with the spotting scopes. Panther moving forwards. Into the conscripts and the engineers here. Armored car joining in, plus some Grenadiers here, really raking Prabuty's infantry with a lot of firepower there. Meanwhile, T-Fed goes for the center straight into the pack forward here. Panther 4 could move to maybe finish it off here if Fire&Terror is feeling bold enough. Great shot there. Almost got Prabuty's T-Fed force from 6. He can go for another one now. He could, of course, also go for an HE5 tank for something with a bit more range. And then Panther 4, the armored car just drives right through here. Prabuty's lines. Prabuty is really in the back seat now, on the defense right now. As Fire&Terror keeps punching away, the loss of that field gun really hurt Prabuty. And I think really it's easy to highlight. You do need to need infantry nearby to support your anti-tank weapons like that. Eastern field being seized still right next to mine, and we got the Disca wiped here. Obviously can't reach it safely, so it's just going to wreck it. And we got the command tank here for Fire&Terror. Oh my! Wie Befehls Panzerkampfwagen 4. A neat little choice there. Command tanks do feel like can be a bit overlooked. They perform quite well as infantry. Though having set plus they got prosper defensive bonuses. Look, I mean there's a lot of utility to them and they can mark targets. So I definitely think it's in many ways a solid choice, though there's also the part of me thinking why is he going for that when he can go for the Osprey, since you know he's got the bulletin for that one as well. But oh well. Again, it's only mine. I still think the command tank is in probably in like the vast number of cases the superior choice. Like for Fire and Territory, like, you know, be punished for going for the command tank or the Osprey would require Prabuty to like pick the commander with a lot of active air support that needs to be shot down immediately, rather than just, you know, the occasional rocket strafe. Got a wipe there though. Full wipe on the Pioneer Squad. They're forcing Fire and Terror to replace them. There we go. I mean, he could try and rely here on the self-repair ability, but even that can, you know, quickly add up. So for now, you can see the map has swung dramatically in Fire and Terror's favor here. Prabuty is very much in another one strike on the map control and to deal damage here to Fire and Terror. And imagine the addition of the command tank is not going to make this easier, since again it means tank can take a few more hits before going up in flames, infantry similarly. Plus, again, a pinch can provide the smoke support. Any killing like uses like, you know, mark tanks for death. So there's a lot of utilities of the command tank, which is probably why so many players don't use it, because it does require, you know, a bit more than just driving up and shooting away, and even then it's still pretty good versus infantry. Due to firing a more potent high explosive shell there. And the gun itself would be one that saw a lot of usage on light vehicles, even as they stopped using it on tanks. They would equip half tanks and armoured cars with the gun there, and they basically used them, you know, as early Stuggies, to that way provide infantry support wherever needed. Little fun fact there. In fact, in the pre-alpha build of Communist 3 with the multiplayer with the Wehrmacht, they actually had that upgrade for the 250.5 to have been equipped with a 75mm short cannon there. That was quite lovely to see, really. It's just farming force either for Prabuty and the Red Army. Could definitely go for more tanks, but I also think some artillery like a Katyusha rocket launcher here could be a very well worth it investment. Meanwhile, Fire and Terror moving straight for tier 4, rather than just coming to more medium armor. Could go either way there. We shall see. Snapping there. Constantine there with a high explosive shell there. Second shot though goes a bit off the mark. H5 shoots. Good shot on the 222 with its 85mm gun. Engaging the MD4 to inside the house there. Grenadier pushing forwards. Engineers being suppressed here. Okay, troops sort of milling about there, trying to look busy. Just look busy and the commissar won't shoot you. Most of the time. Now the T-Fed force must go for Prabuty. Could have gone for the Katyusha. In fact, most players would have gone for the Katyusha, so that's definitely an interesting choice, but I don't think necessarily bad. Like, just unleashing a lot of T-Fed force at the right angle can in fact be a lot more potent depending on the type of player. And the angle. We'll of course have to see how Prabuty decides to use these T-Fed force in Initiative 5. Meanwhile, Fire and Terror, of course, on the pathway towards the heavy Panzer Core and something big. Will it be the Panther? Will it be the Sturmpanzer, or is he playing Panzerwerfers? That's sort of the big question here. Fire and Terror has a lot of options here versus Prabuty. Command Town there obliterates there Dimitri, Sergei, and Vasily falling into the afterlife there. Close advantage on that command tank. Note, it wasn't uncommon to use older Molotov tanks as command tanks either here and there. For example, in Normandy, I think one of the SS Panzer divisions actually used Panzer IIIs as some of their command tanks for the Panzer regiments. So, little fun fact there. Little fun fact there. We can see a Prabuty lining up for big assault, heading westwards, probably figuring this is currently where Fire and Terror is more vulnerable. But also, if you sort of look like the way to attack, if you went for the east, there's much more of a choke point here, but attacking for the west with a lot of tanks here, as you might notice, it's a lot more open. There's effectively less choke points here, so it becomes easier for him to launch a breakthrough assault here against Fire and Terror on the west here. So 2 thumbs up there, I think, to Prabuty. Tactically, I think he's definitely making the right choice. He wants to attack with his tanks and tank shows. They caught the armored car. Rocks around the command tank, that said, lacks a bit more speed. But there you go. Catch the command tank with some rockets here. Almost got it. The Panther 4 could off in trouble. No, doesn't quite get it. Gunny's in top flight there. Well, sorry about that. Conscripts, Gunny's, he actually got the Pack 42. This is devastating for Fire&Terror here. Gunny's being mauled here. H5 moving forward. Command tank needs to get out of there. Panther 4 reaching Veggie 2. A absolute hammer and sickle blow here against Fire&Terror that has brought him possibly to his knees. His pack is gone. And he's also at high risk of losing more of his tanks here as he's, setting up for something big here. Really good attack here from Prabuty. Worth noting, this is also really only something against the northern player, because in the south, there's this particular petition, which doesn't quite allow you the same amount of, shall say, freedom of movement. So this is actually pretty bad here for Fire&Terror. Like, he just went from being in a strong winning position to suddenly not being in it. In fact, now Prabuty holds a few more cards here that looks like, I think, Fire&Terror is going to try and put his faith into the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Second machine crew, they're wiped out. Another blow there to Fire&Terror here in the 7th Panzer Division as the 5th Guards tank caught and leeches. Another sickle blow there against him. And we do get the Panther here for Fire&Terror, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Meanwhile, the Panther 4 here is holding back command tank there, also a bit more on the defensive. Trying, I guess, to just buy time here for the Panther to arrive. Several hits here. All 3 shots from the T-34s and the H5 penetrates the Panther 4 there. Of course, in this regard, the command tank does help a bit, ensuring it stays alive. Even that, it wouldn't survive another volley like that, that's for sure. Need to immediately fix it up here. Meanwhile, tanks being forced to the Pioneers here at extra risk getting wiped out by Prabuty. That'd certainly be a hell of an issue there for Fire&Terror at this point, as that would slow down the repairs on the Panther 4 even more. Panther fast there galore, but need to retreat the Gunners before they get crushed by the T-34s from 6s here. Prabuty there just sensing an opportunity to just, well, run them over as fast as possible and save ammunition in the process. Mortify the ring down death here upon Prabuty's men. Moving in the command tank. Not entirely sure why here. It's like, obviously not going to think it's the T-34s or the H-5 here. But there you go. We got the Panther out there for Fire&Terror. The Panzerkampfwagen 5. We got 303 versus 311. H5 lands another great hit, gaining veteran 2 there for Prabuty. Panther on the move here. Looks like it's going to make an attempt here on the flank. Another H5 here for Prabuty. There we go. Flank station 5, they're definitely the priority target there. Troops being fought as well. Another shot there, this time on the T-34 from 6. Being fought there with the Panzerkampfwagen 5. H5, though, is definitely in a troublesome spot. He almost got the T-34 from 6. He looks like he can prioritize that one, since the H5 is going to have to take time to turn around to deal with the Panther, allowing him to take out the T-34 there without any issue. Really, I think some solid nerves of steel there by Fire&Terror. And there you go, goes for the H5, blocking its retreat here. Interesting enough, Prabuty just tried to get around and try and take on the Panther turning around here. I feel like that could arguably be a bit of a mistake there tactically, and this actually allows the Panther to then fairly easily take out not just the T-34 but an H-5 here. There we go, that's a tank and a tank shot taken down here without much issue from the Panther due to some poor tactical positioning by Prabuty. Really highlighting the power of positioning as well of your stuff. Panther, though, here dodging an anti-tank grenade, actually somehow failed to penetrate. That is super rare in my opinion, by the way. Panzerfaust bouncing, not too uncommon. Anti-tank grenades bouncing off even the thickest of German armor, super unlikely. Practically more likely to win in the lottery. So obviously, Fire&Terror there missed out on an opportunity to win probably a few $1 million. Or whatever he gets in the local currency in a lottery. T-5 going straight for the command tank. Good shot there. Panther need repairs here. Definitely managed to equalise the armour numbers, but he did lose the Panther 4 there, which is great for Prabuty. Still, Fire&Terror has plenty of infantry. He needs more Pioneers, as he lost another Pioneer squad here, and he can, of course, use self-repairs, but he's already short munitions due to, struggling map control here, so yeah, he will find it difficult to get all these repaired fast enough. Meanwhile, Prabuty can just start churning up more T-34, so she defies as they are fairly more cost efficient. Plus, he's still got plenty of engineers too. So, bit of a dangerous spot here for Fire&Terror. Bit of a dangerous spot. Close to 52 on that Panther, though. Strange him on the west here. You got 193 was the 3 and 11. Panther looks like it's going to move out here, realizing he can't afford to wait around further. We got more pioneers on the way there, though, for Fire&Terror. Prabuty still not quite pulling the trigger on more armor. Guess he wants another tank shot here to face the Panther, which, to be honest, you can't fault him for that one. Command tank going for the comps in the east here. Pioneer squad ready. Also got a pack 40 there. Panther could try and blitz after the H-35 or go for the T-34. So there we go. Goes for the T-34. More within reach. In some regards, the more easy target. Although, of course, just splits past the H-35, that would definitely be the easy target. So then he can't even shoot back at the Panther. Now they should have there for Prabuty. Frantically calling up the staff car for more tank destroyers. Comrades, I need more tank destroyers. The Germans are overwhelming us. With how many? One tank. One? Oh, it's one of those Panthers. Oh. Defense on the west side here, 14 kills, ace level. Rockets right in the Panther. Oh dear, and he doesn't angle it, Oh, allowing him, look, Third Air Force to do almost full damage to the Panther. Should have turned to the side there. Loses the pack too. I just went very sour there for Fire&Terror. His Panther is Vetsy too, but it's also pretty much ready to explode. Command tank being rushed in, second H-5 ready here. The situation for Fire&Terror just went pear-shaped in a big way. Self-repairs being initiated. He needs the pioneers back there, but they're busy grabbing points rather than fixing up his Panther. His command tank is frantically trying to stay alive here. Panther being rushed forwards, half healthy, relying pretty much on the Vetsy 2 bonus to save his posterior here. Even as Prabuty's bringing in more tank destroyers. There we go, Panther now spots the second H-35, then he's flanking around the first one. Command tank rushing in to assist the Panther. There we go, ramming it. Takes out the Panther and the command tank goes down. Fire&Terror Jens, one pioneer squad and the 3 grenadiers. Everything else is dead. And I think with this, Prabuty has very much scored a decisive victory against Fire&Terror. He has no way of bouncing back. Not even, I think, the Stooks at this point could salvage his, well, posterior. So with that, GG, game over. And I think he's left the game. We're just waiting for the game to figure out he's lost. And well, he's left. There we go. GG, game over. He lost a Fire&Terror victory for Prabuty. Definitely quite a match with some nice swing moments. But one I think I would say decisively won here by a really good maneuver. They were completely blindsided Fire&Terror. And then Fire&Terror, I think, struggling. I also think, yet again, he probably just been bit off going for a bunch of Stooks rather than trying to haul for the Panther. But that's just me. Still, he was fairly close to making the Panther work, but in the end, just lacked the support to really make it work. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, turn friends to your family, but don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Link. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Till tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.